Welcome, divine greetings, beautiful kings and queens, friends and family from all over the world. Ooh, I got a special treat for you today. I am so excited and honored to be presenting to you Queen Cynthia Mobley Howell. She is here to share with us today her incredible healing journey and all she's been doing in the world. I am so impressed with this queen. She is incredible. She is a minister. She is an international speaker, an international best-selling author, a transformational coach, a mental health advocate, really helping us to break the stigma around mental health and what it means to heal in a holistic way, mind, body, and spirit. She is also a plant-based enthusiast. She has been passionate about this lifestyle since 2019. She shares the joys of plant-based living and how it's been helping her in her journey and everybody she's been helping. She's also the CEO and founder of How Well Are You in Florida. So she will tell us a little bit more about herself, how she came to helping other people in this way, and also the power of God in her life. We were talking a little bit earlier about how God is so powerful in bringing us together in these ways to help raise the consciousness of the planet, help us raise our own consciousness. But he is definitely the one, guiding our every way. And I thank him so much for bringing Queen Cynthia to me, and also Queen Sade. A special shout out to Queen Sade for introducing us and for creating this connection. I am so excited to have you here today, Queen Cynthia. Thank you for your time and your energy. We want to know all about you. You also have a special book coming out very soon, so we're going to talk about that. It's called Crazy Didn't Get Me. I can't wait to get my hands on that. And hear more about your powerful journey. So share with us a little bit about yourself, what your journey was like. For me, I love to hear about how somebody transforms themselves. I'm sure you had your fair share of challenges and struggles in your life. So we are an open platform here. We love to hear transformational stories, because oftentimes when we come into this role of a leader, a healer, a powerful speaker, you've probably had a fair share of challenges. So we'd love to hear about how you've overcome and how you came to be this beautiful, bright light for our world today.
Oh, you are absolutely amazing, Queen Arlene. Thank you so much for having me. And shout out again to Sade for connecting us. When I connected with Sade, one of the very first conversations that we had was about who I should be connected with, and you were right there in the top 3. And I'm like, I'm going for it. So I am so humbled and I'm so honored that you would even allow me this opportunity to be able to speak into the world and to speak my truth and to share my journey with regard to mental health, with regard to spiritual health, with regard to physical health. I'm just excited to be here, and I'm just ready to get at it. You properly introduced me, and that's fine. As we go on, I may share some other things about myself, but I think they got the gist. So I'm not one to talk about myself a lot. I want to talk about this journey that I'm on to health and wellness. And as you mentioned before, I embrace a holistic approach to health and wellness. I, in my humble opinion, believe that the spirit, the soul, and the body must be carefully managed in order for us to maintain optimum health. I don't think you can have one without the other. It has to be a balance, as I was sharing with you earlier. If my mental health is good and my physical health is jacked up, then I'm just jacked up. If my spiritual health is good and my mental health is jacked up, I'm jacked up. If my physical health is good and my spiritual health is jacked up, I'm jacked up. They all, if you will, play off of one another. And I know sometimes we try to compartmentalize these three things, but in my opinion, and as I say, in my opinion, because you meaning our listening audience, you certainly have the right to disagree with me, but in my opinion, the three are connected. The spirit, the soul, and the body are all connected, and they all have to be good if we're going to experience, again, optimal health and wellness.
I agree. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, and so I've always been a very spiritual person because I was raised in a very spiritual environment. You know, my parents, I always say I was drugged. They drugged me to church in the morning. They drugged me to church in the afternoon. They drugged me to church in the evening. They drugged me to church during the week. I was drugged. Me and my siblings, we were drugged. And so I've always been very spiritual. I've always had a God consciousness. And I know people have their ideas about God, yada, 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 but I'm gonna talk about mine because that mine is mine. Yours is yours, mine is mine. I can talk about my experience. I can't talk about anyone else's experience. I can only talk about my experience. And so as it relates to the spiritual aspect, I was always taught, it was ingrained in me that God is my source, and I should always make sure and serve him. And there was a time in my life, I have to be honest, Eileen, there was a time in my life where I did not practice what was instilled in me. Because, you know, when as a child, when you're growing up, you just do what you're told to do. And so while I was young, I did do that. You know, I went to church, I did it all. But when I was old enough to do my own thing, I was like, peace, deuces, I'm out. Oh, you know, this no more. But there's a scripture in the Bible that says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart from it. So yeah, I departed, but I didn't depart. I thought I was departing, but I would be in the bar, high as a kite, smoking weed, high as a kite, and sitting at the bar and start talking about Jesus. And my girlfriend would be like, please, now is not the time. We're not gonna talk about him right now. And I said that to say it was in me and I couldn't help it. So it would always spill out. So anyway, fast forward to one of the things that I really want to share is, because I know that you have the group Kings and Queens of Raw, and I'm excited about my plant food lifestyle that I have embraced. Next, in about 3 weeks, it's the top of the year, I will have embraced this lifestyle for 4 years.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
thank you. I am like super excited. And let me just throw this out there real quick, you know, because people will be quick to say, ooh, you ain't know me? No. And I started this journey at the age of 59. So it never, you know, you never get too old to make changes. And I've always been very health conscious. I was raised in a home where my parents were very health conscious. My parents were super healthy. And I realized the reason why they were, because being raised in an African-American culture, you know, most African-Americans eat, you know, pork chops and bacon and greens with a lot of quote unquote fat back in it. We didn't eat any of that. If I wanted a good slice of bacon, I had to go to my neighbor's house. You know, my mama didn't cook with ham hocks and all of that. She didn't. And my parents, when I tell you they were as healthy as horses, when they died, they died. Now, my mom did have Alzheimer's. She suffered from dementia, but she was like 79 years old and still wearing 3-inch heels. And I mean, wearing them And she was very lean. She was very lean. She was very petite, but she was, you could tell she was strong. My daddy, the same. My daddy literally, he was a landscaper. He literally worked until he died. He never retired. And from what I understand, they didn't keep up with birthdays when he was born, but when he died, I understand that my daddy was actually in his 90s. He was in
Wow.
his 70s, which means he was in his 70s when I was born.
Wow.
So I've always been very health conscious, and so so it was 2019 when I actually started the plant-based lifestyle.
I love to hear this so much. It's really beautiful. And I would love to hear about, your interpretation really of Jesus's message when it comes to health, because there's a lot of people that claim to be religious, spiritual, and, they have their own interpretation of what it means to be healthy. And, some say, oh, the Bible even says that we could eat meat and all of that. But like, to me, God and Jesus are preaching this message of love, they're preaching this message of like, do no harm. Like, that's the message I get. And even if it was mentioned a little bit in the scriptures that it's okay to eat meat, how did it come about for you, this kind of realization that we are, to eat this kind of way, that, he has given us all the fruits and the herb bearing trees and tree yielding seeds and all of that. When was it? How did it happen for you? Did you get an inspiration? Did you hear about it somewhere, or was it God's message? How did you receive that message?
Wow, girl, that's a deep question. I love that. I love that question. Let me preface what I'm going to say by saying this first. When you talked about Jesus and his message of love, and all of that, as you were saying that, a scripture came to my mind, and I don't know the scripture, but I'm sure you've heard it, and many of our listeners probably have, but it talks about our bodies being a temple. Mm-hmm. And so when you think about your body as a temple, you think of your body, of you preserving. And I know we're going to get out of here because we came from dust, and from dust we're going to return. However, while we are here, I believe that it's God's will that we would take care of our bodies. Many people take better care of their automobiles than they do their bodies. You get oil changes, you put gas, you do all the things that you need to do. You put transmission fluid in it, you put brake fluid in it, because these things cause your body to run, cause the car to run optimally. And when you don't do those things, you're going to suffer the consequences of having to go and see a mechanic. So as it is with our bodies, if we don't put the right things in our bodies, then we are not going to get the right thing coming out of our bodies, if you will. And a lot of people say, well, God said everything he made was good. But in the beginning, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was about the fruit bearing trees and the herbs and all of that. I remember a story in the Bible with Daniel, and that's where the 21-day fast originates. You remember that when Daniel, did his, and to paraphrase, they did this fast, and Daniel was like, well, you all eat what you eat for 21 days. I'm going to eat what I eat for 21 days. And then at the end of the 21 days, let's come back together and do an assessment. And so Daniel did his fruit and vegetables or what have you. The other people did their American standard diet. And when they came back together, it was Daniel that had the smooth.
So strong.
Exactly. And when they made a comparison, there was a significant difference in those who had who partook, if you will, or ingested or digested or ate the quote unquote standard American diet, versus Daniel, who had eaten from the fruit the fruit bearing trees and had eaten from the earth, the vegetables and the herbs. So there was a significant difference. So that says a whole lot. So I believe that's very significant. I think about something growing up in the Black church. I grew up in a Pentecostal church, where they believed in laying on of the hands, for healings and all of that. And people would always get in line and preacher, pray for me, pray for my diabetes. No, we need to pray for your mouth, that you stop putting the wrong stuff in it. you get in the healing line every month. Duh. So you need to. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? It's not.
Maybe we should pray for the surrender to listen to God's message. It's not, I think it's a co-creation. Sorry to cut you off, but what you're saying is it's comical, but it's true. It's like God is sending us the messages all the time through people, through information, through different ways, but it's up to us to surrender to that information and to actually do it. It's a co-creation. God can only do for us what we're doing for ourselves too. He needs to see us taking those steps. To add to what you're saying, yes, it's the mouth.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that, shedding more light on that. Another situation when I was much younger, and being in church, and we used to go out in the street, witnessing, telling people about Jesus. And there was this one girl, and y'all don't come for me in the comments. There was this one girl that was huge. And so somebody said to her one day, well, if Jesus can save me, why can't he help you lose weight? Let that marinate, y'all. So it goes back to what you just said. We work together, him and us, to get this thing done. He has given us the wisdom. He has given us the knowledge. And I say he's given it to us through our relationship with him or through others. There's so much information out here, and it's up to us to hear the information. People talk about knowledge being power. Not necessarily. It's not power if you don't apply it. Can I just say that?
Absolutely.
It ain't just power just because it's knowledge.
Exactly. We got to practice it. We got to implement it. We got to do the work every day. And the blessings, they keep on coming. So that leads me to my next question, because I'm so curious to see if you have felt, what difference has that brought to you? What difference has the lifestyle change, has eating this way, eating God's way, really, like, let's just name it as it is. It's like, there's universal law, there's God's law. He has set certain, guidelines in place for us to obey, and when we do obey them, I have certainly felt so many blessings come my way, miracles every day. So I'd love to hear about what miracles have come your way, and in terms of your work, in terms of your relationships. And I'm sure it doesn't come without any difficulties too, right? Because there's certain attachments that sometimes kind of break away when we do embrace this lifestyle, but then it opens up so many new doors. So I'd love to hear about what miracles and what blessings you have seen in your life since after you've embraced this lifestyle.
Absolutely. Great question. One is that of exceptional mental clarity and creativity. It's at another level. I mean, my creativity is through the roof. I'm doing things as far as being creative. And when I say creative, I mean for instance, we talked about, I have a new book that's being released in January. And my publisher did my original social media ad, the one I believe that you shared in the post. That was from my publisher. Anything else that anyone has seen, I have created that. And I was talking to my publisher. She was like, maybe we need to hire you.
Yes.
You did that? I'm like, yeah. Because I sit down to my computer and I start creating, and I just hear, do this, put that right there, grab that and put that there, do this, say that, say the other. And I'm telling you, it's absolutely phenomenal, because I'm like, I have not been to, and I'm not saying, I mean, I know it doesn't take rocket science to drag and drop, but some people don't know how to drag and drop, and make it look like something. You might drag and drop,
It's a
but it's
gift. It's definitely a gift.
exactly. So let's call it what it is. Exactly. Let's call it what it is.
Mhm.
However, it has gone to another level. My mental clarity. One of the things that I really have to talk about is my temperament. I was that one that would go from 1 to 10 in 10 seconds.
Me too.
Like,
I feel you. I
you know
feel
what I'm
you.
saying? Now, as I'm talking to people, and I always use the example of talking to customer service representatives. I would become very annoyed when I would being working in customer service myself, and understanding how whenever someone comes to you with an issue, that you're listening, you're making notes, and then you are paraphrasing back to them what they said, so that you can make sure that you get what they said, so that you can resolve their issue. I sit here for 5 minutes and tell you what my issue is. And when you respond to me, you like coming from the left. And I'm like, did you just not hear a word that I said? And I remember there were times when I would snap. When I tell you snap with 2 syllables, snap, not snap, snap. But like, did you not hear what I said? I notice now. I know, you can feel free to laugh, because I just, girl, listen, I've been here 63 years and I don't care. It is
What? I don't believe that.
63. Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh. Wow, you do not look a day over 42. 40, not even.
Love you, girl. I love you, girl. That means I was in a deficit when I had my son, since he's 45. But anyway,
Let's not do the math.
the math ain't math. So yeah, so today I'll use an example. Today I had earlier today, and we talked about this earlier. I have well, you don't know, but I'm a mental health advocate, and the reason why I am is because I was raised in a household where I have 3 siblings. My only 3 siblings were affected by severe mental health issues. My oldest brother was bipolar, and he committed suicide at around 31 or 32.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. My middle brother is schizophrenic. He's been missing for 22 years.
Oh no.
My youngest brother is schizophrenic, and he's been institutionalized for 35 years.
Mm.
And so I haven't spoken to him in a while, because he doesn't want to talk. And I understand that. He's my brother. I've been knowing him all my life. But I've always kept in contact with the staff at the facility, and there's been a few changes, and everybody knows, don't play when it comes to my brother. If I call you, call me back. And don't call, I understand his situation. You don't have to explain to me, well, he does this. I don't need to know. All I need to know is that my brother is okay. I know he doesn't want to talk to me, because I know him. He's my brother. I know his MO. I know him better than you all know him, because he was my brother longer than he's been in your institution, but almost as long. But so I had called to check on him, and no one returned my call. But anyway, to make a long story short, I gave him some time. Matter of fact, I gave him almost 2 months to call me back. So this morning I got up, I'm like, okay, we gonna need to deal with this situation. And so when I called, and the young lady started trying to explain the situation, I said, and then she started talking about, my brother, and he's good. He's mellow. I said, I don't need you to tell me what my brother's doing. I already know what he does. I said, what we need to address is that I called you and you didn't call me back. I said, let me explain something to you. That is my brother. I love him. I care about him. He is not a statistic. He is a human being. And when I call you, I'm going to need you to call me back. And the poor child started crying. And she said she had had a death in her family. And I got real quiet. I listened. Now, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, that ain't got nothing to do with the Mobleys. But, you know, I was compassionate because I understand. But sidebar, if you are working somewhere and there's an issue that you're addressing with someone, you don't need to use any type of excuse about why you haven't done what you're supposed to do. Yeah. The fact that you had a death in your family has nothing to do with me and my situation. I'm sorry. I was sympathetic and I listened. I got really quiet. I mean, she was like, oh. And when she finished, I told her, I said, I'm very, very sorry. What I didn't say, and this is what I'm getting to about my temperament. What I didn't say is I told her that I was very compassionate. I was authentic. And I told her that I was very sorry about the death in her family. And I understand. But what I didn't say is what I would normally say. But thanks to the plant-based and the raw food for day 197, what I didn't say was, but I ain't got nothing to do with that. And that ain't got nothing to do with me, because it doesn't. I don't need to hear what happened with you. We talking about me and mine. Now you can call me selfish or what have you, but I'm just saying what I'm saying. So I said that to say there was a time. Now she cried, not because I wasn't being mean, but I was talking just like I'm talking to you, because that's how I talk. My voice projects, and I'm very matter-of-factly when I speak. I don't hem and I don't haw. I'm going to give it to you without a chaser. I'm not going to put no sugar on top of it.
Love it.
I ain't doing none of that. I ain't sprinkling no sugar on it. I'm going to give it to you raw.
That's right. Raw authentic.
Raw, I love that. I'm raw authentic. I'm going to coin that phrase. I'm going to give you the credit for it the first time. Yeah. So, then I had to speak to a customer service representative. You and I were actually communicating while we were communicating via inbox while I was on the phone with this person. You didn't know that. And, but dealing with something that I've been dealing with for almost a year that's supposed to have been resolved. I wanted to rip his butt a new frame. But number one, it's not his fault. And I told him that. I said, I understand. I said, what I do understand is that this is not your fault. But what I need you to do is make sure that this is resolved today. I'm not. And so he wanted me to call. Well, I need you to call. I said, no, I'm not calling anybody. I pay you. So I'm going to need you to call. So what I'm saying is, there was a time when I would have literally been screaming and cussing, the minister, screaming and cussing, and hang up the phone. But the whole time I'm speaking to him, I can hear my inner woman saying, just chill out, Cynthia. Don't snap out on him. It's going to be okay. And I believe all of that is directly related to my food lifestyle. I really do.
Amen. It's all connected. I love the story that you're sharing. Thank you so much for painting that vivid picture. You're a very good storyteller too. I can see it all happening.
Thank you. So I've been told.
Yes, a very vivid storyteller. Wow. And what I'm hearing is your nervous system, from a physiological standpoint, when we fill ourselves with these living foods, sometimes, due to our childhood, due to so much trauma that we've been through, a lot of us have a very compromised nervous system. We don't know how to regulate our emotions. We don't know how to regulate, even on a physiological level. We're just constantly in fight, flight, freeze, these unconscious kind of reaction. And I've certainly experienced this too with the living foods, especially being on the raw foods. more recently, another shift has happened where like it was my nervous system. You know, I dealt with a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, panic attacks, even like thoughts of like suicide. You know, when things would go wrong in my life, I literally wanted to, you know, take my life. So I have a lot of compassion for everything that you've been through with your family. And I'm so sorry to hear about your brothers. You've been through so much in your life, and it's incredible how God has gifted you this incredible mission to speak on this, you know, and to use your pain for power. You know, it's all about like you transforming that deep pain that you must have gone through and still go through with your family, and be like, whoa, I must not be alone in this world. And so you healing yourself, you know, on that level with the living foods, and, you know, learning to regulate your own emotions, your own nervous system, has opened up the door to you like, whoa, you know, serving in these incredible ways for others who are, you know, going through it too. So many people are struggling with this, or have family members who are struggling with this, and a lot of the time we kind of sweep it under the rug, or we pretend like it's not happening, or we have this like, you know, one child in the family that becomes like the scapegoat that we kind of like don't really talk about, or they're, you know, we just kind of, even, you know, some people, I saw them like cast them aside or pretend like there's no problem, you know, because they're ashamed. And but there's no shame in that. You know, we're here to this is like coming from like a long line of very deep trauma, you know, where when our ancestors and their grandparents, and like it just gets passed on. But then there's like one of us often in the family that's here to like break the cycle, break the whatever we want to call it, you know, the generational trauma, the cycles of pain and suffering, and to like bring light to it. So that's what I'm seeing you doing, is bringing light to it. And the first thing, I mean, I'm sure you were doing already this work before you were plant-based, but what I'm hearing is that the plant-based help you to get to that next level of creativity, and also like deeper connection to God, you know, to your creator, and be more in tune with what he needs from you. And I'm so amazed with you and your deep surrender to the calling. I know that must have been so difficult for you growing up in that household. And you must have felt very powerless at some point. Were there some moments in your life where you were just like you wanted to help, but like you didn't really know how to help? Or what was it like growing up for you? And what, you know, is like little Cynthia, I'm just thinking of like little child Cynthia going through that in your lifetime. What was going on for you? And or did you know that you were meant to do this from a young age?
Ooh, that's I'm just sitting here listening to you, and I'm just taking it all in. It's um let me say this before I answer your question, because I have to say this. When you mention about a person in the household and how they will kind of be hidden away from everybody, and you know, so everybody won't know what's going on. Well, that was kind of hard in my household since it was 3.
Mhm.
So I just had to mention that. There were 3. So
How did your parents handle that? What were they like? Were they in acceptance? Were they upset? Like what was going on in the household with you and them that could see what was going on, but you know, we're struggling with the same kind of issues? Were they very open about it, or did they struggle with it?
well, to answer your first question about how
Yes.
I dealt with it, I've always been a very resilient, for as long as I can remember, a very resilient, it is what it is type of person, even from a child, very outspoken, calling a spade, and getting in trouble because I would say things to adults that children probably shouldn't be saying, because I called it as I saw it. Like, y'all stop playing. And so one thing that I remember about myself as a child, and it grew with me, I've always paid attention to things. And if it was quote unquote unpleasant or bad, it kind of just, I didn't, it, I don't, I didn't let things get to me. never let things get to me. And of course, I was young and I knew that there was an issue, but my parents apparently didn't, or they were in denial. So, which, to answer your other question about how my parents dealt with it, remember I told you I was raised in a strict Christian environment. My parents were devout, devout, devout. They were devout with emphasis on the T, right? My daddy was a deacon in the church. My mama sang or what have you. And I was raised in a Pentecostal church, and I was raised in an African-American church. And all of those ingredients were ingredients for when it comes to mental illness, you don't talk about it. First of all, Black people didn't talk about it. Second of all, church people didn't talk about it, because for you to talk about it, that meant somebody ain't praying hard enough.
Oof.
Somebody must not be in good graces with God. What did y'all do to deserve this? So then, to avoid that type of what's the word I want to use? To avoid that type of situation, for lack of a better word, people coming at you that way, you kept quiet. And that's why I'm not keeping quiet. That's my mantra. I'm not keeping quiet anymore. So, well, in all honesty, at first, I believe it probably was, they probably thought, oh, boys will be boys. They're just acting out or what have you. Know what I'm saying? But at some point, you had to recognize it. This was unusual. I have an acronym, IDA, IDA, and it's an acronym that God gave me that I believe is helpful when it comes to people understanding when they're dealing with mental health issues. IDA is identify the unusual behavior. If somebody, and you say, well, what is an unusual behavior? Well, if somebody's sleeping too much, not sleeping enough, if you're getting up in the middle of the night, doing stuff, and you hear people talking and there's no one else there, people are not being as social, the anger is like through the roof. There's so many signs. Your family knows you, Eileen. They know you. So if you are completely to the left versus just something is a little off about her, but if you have gone completely to the left, then there should be it's time to be concerned. So you identify when the behaviors are unusual, and once you identify the unusual behaviors, then the letter D is for don't deny. Don't say, oh, well, she just going through, oh, no, don't deny. Once you see those behaviors, don't deny what you're seeing. They're real and they're not going to go away because you're denying them. Ask me how I know. And then A is for act. And you act quickly and you act promptly to get that person the professional help that they need, because they deserve to live an ordinary, productive, and fulfilling life, which my brothers did not. And they had so much talent. They had so many gifts and so much talent. So we need to, IDA is part of my passion for early intervention. I believe that people with mental health issues can live ordinary, productive, and fulfilling lives if it's diagnosed early. You may have to take medication. I'm not a big advocate of medication, but you have to see a therapist or do whatever you need to do. But I believe that it can be managed. It doesn't have to be that my life has to not be lived because I have a mental health issues. There are many issues. There are many people who are thriving with mental health issues. And I know a lot of times when we think about mental health issues, we think about schizophrenic, schizophrenia, depression, bipolar. Yes, those are some of the more, I would say, serious ones. But there are many mental health issues that are well, all of them are serious. Let me backtrack. Anxiety, there are many. ADHD or what have you, there are many. But I think when people think about mental health, they think about the title of my book, which a lot of people don't like, but I'm sorry, you don't have to like it because you didn't give that to me. God gave it to me. When you say crazy, people cringe, but they'll use it.
Okay, one moment.
Like, oops.
So sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We use that term crazy all the time when we're talking, oh, that's so crazy. Oh, but if you use it in relation to mental health, it's like, no, it's a term that we use. We say it. No, we don't mean any harm. And I've been deputized to use that term because I grew up with it and I lived it. So don't tell me not to say it.
Yeah.
I
think you've earned the right to use any word you wish.
Thank you.
And sometimes, you got to do what feels comfortable to you and what God gave you, regardless of what other people think, because and sometimes we got to be a little shocking too, and how we get, people's attention, it's like, I think it's a very powerful title, because it's a word, but that we're using so loosely too. It's like, especially, with women, sometimes when we're like so emotional, we get this like, oh my gosh, she's just crazy, like people love to say that about us because we're emotional, like label us crazy because we have very deep emotions, or we, go through waves throughout the month and things like that. But yeah, I think it's a great title.
Thank you.
Yes.
So by the time that, my parents kind of realized what was going on and wanted to deal with it, it was a little, I always say it was a little too late. They were just they were beyond managing. So here we are. And so my mission is to not keep quiet. And it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. And
I think it's so important, and you're a voice for so many different communities where there is a lot of judgment around it, where there is a lot of stigma around it, and you are just breaking all those walls, and you are going to reach people that you don't even know you're reaching. It's like sometimes it's the quiet ones on the sidelines that, watch our posts or see us talking, that don't necessarily feel comfortable coming out. But what you're doing is so powerful for all of us who have ever gone through mental health issues. And I don't know anybody who hasn't. When I started opening up about my eating disorder and depression and anxiety, like I was so shy to come out because I was like, oh my God, what are people going to think? My addictions and all of that. But like, the more I've done that, the more people have come to me and are like, oh, my son is going through it. I'm going through it. And they look to us for help and support and hope. More than anything else, is just like hope that there is solutions, that we can live good lives, that we can heal ourselves. But we got to put those elements together, and we're the ones that almost have to like stand in our truth and be like, this is who I am, this is what I'm going through, and find the strength with communities like this, like what you're building, to really love ourselves as neurodiverse, instead of like labeling us. We're just neurodiverse individuals. We think different. We are different. Like I knew I never fit into a box, but it was like a bad thing. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my gift. I'm so different. I'm weird, and I'm like all these things, and I'm hyper emotional and super sensitive, but like, why is that a bad thing? So getting in touch with like who we are, and using those things that maybe society told us weren't the best to our advantage, using that and growing on our gifts. I never graduated from college. I don't have like a very high, but it's like, look at all the people I'm helping, and look at all the people
Right.
you're helping by being real, by being honest and like speaking out. I had watched this TED Talks. What you remind me of is this woman who has said, recover out loud. I think that was the name of the TED Talk, and it was called Recover Out Loud. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do that. I knew that was a message from God, to start talking about my alcoholism and my drug abuse and all these things. And she just chose to start speaking about her addictions, and it helped her to heal. So everything I'm doing is to, like, first and foremost, to help myself. And then if anybody
Right.
gets inspired by that, brilliant, but what you're doing is so revolutionary.
Thank you. I love it. And we are so vibing because everything that you have said just now is like me.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, as far as like people coming up to you, people have started coming up to me at my church, because one of the communities that I wanted to reach was to bridge. One of the things that I wanted to do was to bridge that gap between the faith-based and the mental health community. Listen, Jesus and therapy. Okay.
Yes. Amen.
How about that? How about that? Jesus ain't mad. He ain't intimidated because you talk to a therapist. He gave them the knowledge and that wisdom to be able to help. So Jesus, y'all, Jesus ain't intimidated if you get a therapy.
Love
Okay.
it.
All
Love
right.
it.
Yeah. And then when you were talking about, I've not been to anybody's college. I've been to the School of Hard Knocks. That's the college I graduated from. Sigma cum laude. I was at the top of that class, so yeah, so, and like you said, there's you don't know what your voice and what your transparency will do for that person. They may not never ever say anything. They may not ever say anything, but they are listening and they are making a mental note of what you're saying. And they know because of your transparency that if they do ever need somebody to talk to, if they need to reach out, I feel like they would be very comfortable in reaching out. And I always say, this is kind of a sidebar, my book is Crazy Didn't Get Me. Of course, I survived, but I said, it depends on the day of the week you catch me. So don't try me.
We all got a little crazy.
We all got a little cray going on, and come on, everybody. And, when you say some people are never going to admit some things. Some people are going to live, we were wearing masks long before the pandemic.
Ooh.
People talk about these holier than thou people talk about, I don't celebrate Halloween. Yes, you do, because you wear masks every day.
Yay.
So you do celebrate Halloween. If it's about wearing a mask, you hide, you're trying to be somebody you're not, so yes, you do celebrate Halloween.
Wow.
You wear your mask every day.
That's deep. I got chills when you said that. Oh my gosh. Everybody, that's it. Everybody's walking around with different levels of issues. It's just a matter of who's coming out and being real about it.
That's right.
And who's coming out and just posting their, happy pictures. Like, I'm going through a separation right now, and I'm like, should I share it? Should I not? And I knew it was going to upset him to come public, but I'm like, I have chosen to come out and be very transparent with my friends and family, even on social media. Like, I'm not just going to pretend like nothing's going on. And, it's just like, if I relapse, my friends and family know. If I'm back in rehab, I share it. I don't post every detail, but I'm like, I'm going through it. I've fallen, I'm getting back up, I'm getting strong again. And that right there, I don't see many people doing that. I don't see many people being like, I'm heartbroken, I'm using again. I mean, in our community, we do. That's one thing about our Kings and Queens community that I love so much, is that we're so open. We're so, honest about, if we had some foods that we, preferred not to have had, and we're going through detox or whatever it may be, we're so loving. And it really changes lives to know that we can have a safe place to come to, to come to you, to come to a therapist. It's like that permission, that permission piece to, I got a lot of help. I have a life coach, I have a therapist, I'm doing hypnotherapy, I've done lots of plant medicines. Like, those are all things that God sent to me. Like, God is amazing. And through the prayer and meditation and the fasting and all that, he sends me earth angels such as yourself. You know, he sends me the solutions in so many different forms. So it's not just about sitting in our room and praying and reading the Bible. It's like, what are you going to do to embrace all the gifts and all the beautiful healing modalities? Like sound healing is super beneficial. Like, you know, different exercise practices can help you too. You know, there's so many different things that we need to be open to in order to heal holistically. And what you're saying about mind, body, spirit, that's it. You know, it's very powerful. Friendships, you know, having connections with other people, getting on the phone with somebody, like all those things. That's God working miracles through people. But people, it's almost like, I don't know if you know that story. It's like there's a boat. I'm probably going to mess it up. I'm terrible at telling stories, but you know, they're out there and they're like, you know, they're in the ocean and oh my God, see, I'm already like messing it up. But anyway,
I know the story.
He's drowning and he like wants God to, and he's just like, no, you tell it.
I know what so let me tell it in a nutshell. So, you know, and let me tell my own version of it. You know, this person is in distress. I'm gonna give you a real short version. This person is in distress and God sends them several different means of ways or means of being rescued. Just let's say a plane, a boat, a car, or whatever. And they say, oh, I'm waiting on God.
Yeah, exactly.
Then they get to heaven and it's like, why didn't you rescue me? Well, I sent you a plane, I sent you a boat, I sent you a car, duh. You know, so I hope they got the gist of it. That was my condensed version of that story. In other words, like you said, you know, you're saying, oh, this is going on with me. Oh, I feel this way. And somebody says to you, well, you know what? Why don't you try this? Especially if it's something that is tried and true. Like, why don't you? I'm not saying that everything works for everybody, but I'm saying that there are some things that do work for everybody. Yeah. Now, did I just contradict myself? Y'all know what I meant. So when it comes to the plant food lifestyle, I'm telling you, as God is my witness, and he's giving me wisdom on when I should speak and when I should not speak. As soon as someone says, oh, this is what's going on with me, da 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 da, my mind automatically says, what is your diet? What are you eating? I don't say it to them yet or to everybody. Some people I have said it to, but you know, you have to be very careful because don't be messing with people's chicken and stuff.
People get so upset.
Ooh, so I'm like, I ain't trying to mess with nobody's chicken and pork chops. Nah, I ain't. I'm just saying what's working for me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, yeah, so God has given us, you say you waiting on God. No, baby. God is waiting on you. Ooh. He's already given you. He's given us, he says that he's given us everything that pertains to life and godliness. Exactly. He's already given it to us. Mm-hmm. So you ain't waiting on him. Mm-hmm. Newsflash.
He's waiting on you.
He's waiting on you.
Ooh.
Waiting on you to take the knowledge that has been provided. My people perish for lack of knowledge, He's waiting for you to get the knowledge and then to take that knowledge and to implement what it is you have learned, to make application, to apply. Again, as I said before, knowledge isn't power if you're not using it. So he's given us everything that we need. He's given us everything that we need. But oftentimes when you start coming for people to change the way that they do certain things, you have some people that's automatically, no. But then you have other people that will say, I think I'm gonna give that a try. So I ain't browbeating, I ain't dragging you. I am not casting my pearls to the swine. I'm gonna put it out there. Look at me. Look at my skin. Look at my vibrancy. look at me,
Yeah.
lost 40 pounds.
Yes.
Look at
Wow.
look at me. I don't do supplements. I'm good. I know when I go see my doctor in April, she's gonna tell me, oh, you're vitamin B12 deficient. Oh, you're whatever. I may be deficient, but it is not affecting me.
Mhm.
Get that. Sure, I'm gonna be deficient because I may not be getting it the way that I need to be getting it right now. So it's gonna show, my blood work is gonna show a deficiency, but because I'm a rebel with the cause, yes, I'm deficient, but my mind is real good. My body feels real good. So if I'm deficient in it, I should be showing signs of being deficient.
And it's based on what? You know what I mean? We're not
Based on
basing it
what?
on, we're basing it on people that are consuming a certain way of food. Even I don't even believe in those tests. I don't even believe in, getting tested or none of that no more. It's like our
I might need
body.
to come over your side. Just don't get
Yeah, your feeling, your body, your energy level is the true test of how something is working, and you can adjust, if sometimes some things feel certain, good, sometimes they might not, but like your body and being in tune with your body, and the cleaner we get, right, the more in tune we are with our body.
yes.
So I don't know, I go with how I'm feeling too, and you are a true testimony of this lifestyle. Look at you, if somebody's not inspired by you, I don't know what's going to do it for them, but
Thank
also,
you.
I look at us as planters and farmers, we're
Mhm.
growers. Not everybody's ready to change at the same time, but we shouldn't stop ourselves from speaking truth. And I encourage you to speak your truth when you feel it, because that's God too speaking through you. We have a responsibility to one another. And of course, there's a time, a place for everything. But when you're
Absolutely.
feeling that, we it's like using our spiritual authority in a way, in a sense that will help people. Like, we've come as teachers, and we have to know that and not be shy about saying things as they are. And you've definitely inspired me to do that more as well, because I'm a little shy too. Like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, I don't want to upset them, I still want to be friends with them, but like at the end of the day, we're here to help them. Maybe we don't need to repeat the same thing 20 times if they don't want to change, but
Exactly.
we definitely are here to plant seeds, and maybe
That's right.
they'll remember you. Like, I remember this first woman, and very lovingly, I used to work at this coffee shop, and she had blue hair. She was a heavy metal singer, and she used to come every day. Alisa Gloves, I will always remember her. And she came in and she ordered a soy latte. And I used to ask her, I was like, why do you order soy? Why don't you drink milk? And I was like 19 or 20 at the time. She says, well, I'm vegan, I don't drink dairy. And I was like, oh, how strange, but I
Yeah.
wasn't ready to change at the time. But I never forgot this woman who every day came in and ordered a soy latte. And to this day, that was like a seed that was planted in me, that's even possible, that she didn't eat animals and she didn't drink milk and all that. So you don't know whose seed you will be that will blossom, down the line into a beautiful tree. So that's what we're here to do, is plant seeds and just share our own journey. And I think that's the best way to do it, through our own vibration, through our own frequency being heightened. And then people are just like, whoa, well, I want what you have. I walk around with my daughter too, and they're like, that's your daughter? Like, yeah. She's like tall like me. They're like, no, that's not your daughter. I'm like, that's my
Sister.
daughter, They're like, what? I'm like, I'm 40, like what? So
Wow.
we have this youthfulness about us that happens, just like how you have. I couldn't believe it when you told me your son, how old he was. I was like, what? I was like trying to do the math. I'm like, no way, because that's what the living foods does. It helps us to youthen, to become our most youthful selves, our most almost like childlike self too, which is how we enter the kingdom of
Yeah.
heaven, is to like,
Come on, girl.
become like children again. And we're playing here. Like, this interview is so much fun to me. And it's just like, how can I play and at the same time share God's message? So this is so beautiful, and you have such a beautiful spirit.
You do
And I'd
too.
love to hear a little bit more about your book. Tell us a little bit about this book. I mean, I've so many friends of mine are like, oh, we should write books, and like a lot of people have this wanting to write. Like, maybe you can inspire us to. You've done it from the dream to the process, which probably was very difficult, and to the completion of it, where it's coming out now on January 16th. It is available for pre-orders if you'd like. I'll put put your website in the comments as well. But tell us a little bit about what that process was like and how you came to completing a book. That's incredible.
Yeah. So when I, experienced what I experienced in my family, and I became like a young adult, like in my 20s, and I would like make a joke out of it and say, I'm gonna write a book. Somebody's got to hear about what happened in that house. I'm gonna write a book one day, just laughing about it. And I think I put it in one of my posts recently. It actually was a self-fulfilling prophecy because, well, God already knew that I was going to do it, but I didn't. In my mind, I was just being funny, right? Making a joke out of the whole
Yes.
situation. So in 2016, I actually started writing the book in, I think 2015 or 2016. I can't remember. Because as a matter of fact, before it became as popular as it is now to talk about mental health, because it became very talked about since the pandemic. But I can show you a Facebook Live that I did in 2016, where I decided to announce to the world that I was writing this book, Crazy Didn't Get Me. And I actually titled the Facebook Live, Shh, Don't Tell Nobody. So, people were coming like, ooh, where's she go? Ooh, what is she about to tell? And so in 2016, I did this Facebook Live announcing to the world that I was writing this book. And I shared my story, some of my story about being raised in the house, with my 3 severely mentally ill siblings. And some of I was living in another city at the time. I'm from Florida, but I was living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the time. And so a lot of my, peeps from Florida were on the live, and they were like, oh my God, I didn't know. Some people knew, like our immediate neighbors knew, but they still really didn't know. Nobody didn't really know what was going on behind those 4 walls but us. But people were like, oh my goodness, oh my God. So I started doing Facebook Lives every Sunday evening at 8 o'clock until I didn't feel like doing it anymore, talking about mental health. And people were like coming on and saying, and people were DMing me saying, thank you so much for talking about this. Thank you so much for being transparent. This is going on in my family, and this is going on with me. So, but I didn't keep it up because life started lifing. And so that fizzled out. Well, fast forward. So now it's like we still in between 2016 and 2017. And I made a transition from Pennsylvania to Florida. And when I got to Florida, I said, it's time to finish the book. And I'm skipping a whole lot, but I'm like, it's time to finish the book. The manuscript was actually completed in February 2017.
Wow.
The process. There were times, Queen, when I would be typing something that had happened, and it was one of those moments, I would literally have to push back from the computer and just like go there, just break down. Like, did this ish really happen? Yeah, it did. It did. Like, it was almost like I was having an out of body experience. Like, this happened? Yes, Cynthia, you're not making it up. It did. So I've always been a writer. So in all fairness to people who, people say, just write the book. Yeah, I agree, but I have to admit I had an advantage because I've always been a writer. Always been a writer. I remember when I was in high school and we had to do a research paper. You know what that is, right? That means you research, you use the encyclopedia. Back in the day, there was no Google, there was no internet. We used encyclopedias and reference all types of books. You research. So that was probably about a 2-3 week process, because you would have to do the research and then your paper would be due maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later. I would do a research paper overnight and get an A. So in all fairness, to everybody else, I've always been a writer. So the writing itself, just being able to write and articulate what I wanted to say was not hard for me. It was the discipline of wanting to keep going. Like, I'm tired. I don't feel like writing another word. I can't do no, but I remember that I had a talk with God, and I was talking to him about some things and asking him some questions about some things. And yes, you can ask God questions. For all of you out there that are of the misnomer, don't question God. Excuse me, God ain't fragile. He ain't intimidated, again, and he ain't fragile. He's God. You think he gonna trip because you ask him a question? Okay, if you need an answer, I'm just saying. Do you
I
think
ask
God,
him a lot of questions.
yeah, you think God is gonna be like, excuse me, I'm God. Don't be asking me no questions. How dare you? Now, I think it's important that we approach him reverently, which, can I be honest? I've had moments when I didn't approach him so reverently. I think that might help. But the thing about it is, if you're going to come to God like ratchet, because he's God and he knows everything, but he already knew that anyway. You can't shock God, right? You can't shock God because he's all knowing. Why we be tripping when it comes to God? Like, he already know. He already know what you're going to say before you say it. He already knows what you're going to do before you do it. So stop tripping, okay? Just talk to him. We make God so like he's so mystical and he's so no, he's cool. God is cool. I mean, me and God cool. I don't know about that. Me and God cool. We cool. We cool. You know what I'm saying? Hey, because if God would strike you down for certain stuff like people say he would, baby, I shouldn't have been here these 63 years. I should have been gone about 60 years ago. But anyway, so the process, the writing itself was not a task because I knew what happened. I knew my story. I know my story. I know what happened. The task for me was keeping at it, staying at it, because you get tired. You get weary and you're just like, I don't feel like it. But I knew that I had to do this. So I finished. My goal was to finish the manuscript in 2017. I said, now, I know I'm going through changes. I don't feel like it some days, but I set a goal and I said, come hell or high water, 2017, I'm going to finish this manuscript and I'm going to get this book published. Well, I did finish the manuscript in 2017. The goal was to go forth with the publishing, but that did not happen for various reasons. But here we are today. And so I would say to anyone that wants to publish, I don't care if it's a Lachey Taylor, if it's an ebook of recipes, if it's about mental illness, if it's about surviving alcoholism, if it's about surviving bulimia, if it's about surviving divorce, if it's about surviving domestic violence. What is the key element in the whole situation? You lived it. That it's your story. So or you, Lachey Taylor, you're coming up with all these great recipes. So what's so hard about putting it down? Why do we make it so hard? It is really not hard. Just write. What did Nike say? Just do it.
Do it. Just do it.
And yes, you are gonna have brain freezes. You're gonna have those days when you just don't feel like writing. And so what? Have the day, don't write. But this was the thing, this was what got on my nerves. When I thought I was done with the manuscript, and of course I went back and I just kept changing and, oh, let me add this. And And something that my publisher said to me when I finally got it to the publisher, she said, even after the book is published, you're going to read it and see things that you could have, so it's never ending. It's really never ending. And when I did my final edit before I took it to the publisher, I was like, "Ooh, finally, thank God, I don't have to look at this book no more. I'm done." And then she was like, "Well, you need to." I'm like,
Oh no.
yeah. But then guess what? It is still, I haven't gotten it back from the editor yet. So there might be more. But so all I'm saying is that just do it. Something that I read that someone said, a theologian said, because I am a minister and I have to write sermons. And this is what he said: if you're eating, I'm sorry. He said, just vomit on the paper and then clean it up. Does that make sense?
Love it.
Just write. Just don't try to, make it make sense and worry about punctuation and how it sounds and all. Just vomit on the paper and then clean it up.
That is some brilliant advice that will certainly help us all. Definitely helps me because I've, been wanting to write a book for so long, and I feel God wanting me to do that. And there's just so much resistance, right? There's so much like excuses that I can make for myself. And I know I'm not alone in this of like, oh, I don't have time, or or I'm not a good writer, or how am I going to, publish it? And like all these stories that we tell ourselves. But I really feel like, exactly like you said, you have it written, and the time it takes is the time it takes, like everything in perfect timing. And it's just incredible that you have really pushed through those challenging moments, because yeah, it's difficult to write a book. It does take discipline. It does take work. It does take focus. But when you know you have something to do for the world, and you're doing it, and this is going to change so many lives. I'm about to order mine. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, because
excited.
thank you. I am too, and thank you so much. When I speaking of the discipline and the focus, when I knew what I needed to do, it's like the phone's going off, the social media is going, I ain't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? I can always get back to that. But we can't be distracted. Whoever's calling, they'll call back. Trust me, they'll call back. It's not an emergency. And so you have to just shut the world out. When I would go into my zone, I shut the world out. I was, living with my roommate when I actually finished the manuscript, and I let her know. I said, listen, this is what I'm doing. Don't bother. Leave me alone. Like the babies, like the little kids say, the little babies, they say, leave me alone. Like, yeah, leave me alone, because I'm on a mission. And so yeah, just do it. I was someone had commented on one of my posts on Facebook, and she said, I've been writing my book for 20 years. She said, I got 6 pages. You should have 20 pages. That's like 1 page at least a year.
One a year.
No judgment. I understand. But people, they just make it so difficult. Again, in my opinion, the difficult part is the focus and the discipline. And in the world in which we live, all of us at times suffer with a little ADD or ADHD or whatever you call it, but you have to discipline yourself, because as you said, when God gives us a mission, we have to, as my God brother always says to me, stay focused on the mission. We so worried about who posted something on Facebook and who posted something on IG and who posting something on YouTube, and whoever's posting whatever they're posting, they're doing what they're doing. So what you doing? You chasing them down to see what they're doing, but you're neglecting to do what you're supposed to be doing. I just said a whole word right there, y'all. While you on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, binging, and not doing what you're supposed to be doing. They did what they were supposed to do because you're watching it. Well, do what you're supposed to do so they can be watching you.
Hey. Even if it's 1 hour a day, even if it's 20 minutes a day, just to focus in that time zone, I think it'd be really beneficial. But I was going to say, this social media has many of us under a bit of a spell, right? A bit of an addiction.
You
And I
have
think
to,
it's done by
exactly.
design. I think it's done by design to
It
keep us kind of
is.
away from our purpose and comparing ourselves with others and think like, oh, oh, they're doing so much better than me and da da da. And like there we are, just like scrolling all day long, feeling bad about ourselves and feeling like, oh, I should be doing more. I should be doing more, but let me just like scroll a bit more.
It's true. We all do it. But I have times when I fast social media.
Yeah.
And I don't announce it either because I don't have to. Because as Tabitha Brown say, that's my business. So I don't announce it. I don't make no big announcement about, well, I'm not gonna be on. Listen, I'm out. Peace. And when I come back, I don't say I've been gone and I'm back. I just resume because it's just like the soap operas. I haven't watched soap operas in probably 30 years. And then one day I looked at it, I'm like, are they still at the same place?
They're still doing the same thing.
It's the same thing with social media.
Yes, exactly.
You're off it for 10 days and you come. I was off it for I fasted it for like a month. And I came back and as soon as the first thing popped up with somebody, I'm like, she's still talking about the same thing. I mean, and when I say that, it was not like something positive. It was something like negative. Like she's still talking about 30 days later, she's still in the same spot. So yeah, and you said something. It's designed. I believe that it's designed to do exactly what it's doing, taking us away, from our purpose and causing us to keep looking at other people and comparing ourselves with them. And honey, with Facebook, I call it fake, FAKE book, because because a lot of that stuff is fake. Because we don't tell it, and I understand it's social media. I ain't mad at it because it has,
we could use it intentionally. We could use it positively, like what you're doing. I think it's a great tool for marketing. We would have never met if it wasn't for that. So I do give thanks to it, but it's our own level of discipline and our own level of self-awareness that will determine how we use it, either in a very addictive manner or in a way that's beneficial to others, and to help spread the message, help spread the lifestyle and things like that. But definitely, I think there's a lot of, I've just been unfollowing anybody who's like not inspiring me or not, bringing value to my life, like isn't colorful with fruits and things like that. Like I just kind of unfollow. So, even though I have a lot of friends on Facebook, I try at least for my feed to be, positive and kind of intentional as well. So I think we could, learn to use it as a tool and not let it use us, and not let it take over.
You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I have to say this, and I don't want to forget to say this. This is to all of my, what do they call your generation? Are you're Gen what, or what are you?
I don't think I'm there yet. I think I'm like I'm like the indigo. I'm the 80s babies. I think it was like after that, the like 2000s, the Gen X and Gen Ys and
well, let me just put it this way. Let me say this. I love, and I'm gonna say it just like I said, I love my young folks, which includes Queen. I love because you all give me life. You give me energy. I love what you all are doing in the earth. And I know a lot of young folks get a bad rap. Your pants hanging down ain't bothering me. If you want them to hang down, if you want to sag them, let them sag. They ain't bothering me because I did my own share of stuff. I think we just need to leave people alone, let them be. And if they're not hurting anybody, you know what I'm saying? If they're not harming themselves. And I learned so much from you guys. Y'all my crew. Y'all my peeps. Y'all are my crew. You hear me? And I love, love, especially what I'm seeing with regard to health and wellness. So many groups, shout out to King Bobby, King Monkeys, I love what you all are doing. Of course, I like I said, and I guess Lachey was like, but she get off of me. I just love, the great recipes that she posts. I love what you're doing with the kings and queens of Raw. I love what you all doing because you all are ushering in another era where her health and wellness is concerned. You young people are saying we are going to take control of our health and wellness. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I am so impressed. So these are the types of things that we need to be focusing on instead of being concerned about, like I said, how many nose rings you got and how many your pants sagging and, Daisy Dukes. And I mean, it's some crazy stuff going on out here too. Some young folks are doing some dumb stuff, but some old folks doing some dumb stuff too.
Yeah.
How about that? So, but I love what you all are doing. I love how you are changing. We have a saying, or they have a saying in church, the youth are the church of tomorrow. No, 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 no. It is the church of today.
Yeah.
Because something that my pastor who came to my church as my pastor when I was about 13 or 14 years old. And he passed a few years ago, and we would always communicate. And one day we were talking and I said, thank you so much. He was much older than me. I said, I just thank you. I said, I love talking to you. I said, you have so much wisdom. And he always called me daughter. And he said this to me, and I will never forget it. Very impactful. He said, daughter, he said, the pendulum swings both ways. So yes, I know I have a certain amount of wisdom. I should know something, I mean, I've been here, as long as I have, I should know something, but I love talking to my young folks because you guys know a lot and I like to pick y'all's brain.
Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. I think there's literally, no age in this lifetime. I think we all come, some of us are older souls, some of us are younger souls, but, I've spoken to some very awakened young people, at like 19, 20 years old. I could think of like Queen Shelley. I just spoke to, she's 18 years old and she's like already awakened, already on the fruits, already, not in that vibration of wanting to drink and party and like, whoa, King Cameron too, who came on with King Bobby the other day. Cameron's like 23 years old, like 23 years old. He's already on the fruit. Like that's some very ancient souls, that are coming in and just awakening so young, because we have a big work to do on this planet at this time. A lot of us have come and we know we're here for a mission. Some of us, awaken at a certain age. It's all good. My dad, he went plant-based at the age of 60, 59, 60, something like that. Yeah.
And how old is he now?
He's 68 years old. He's turning 68 in December. Yeah, he just turned 68
He
actually.
just turned, yeah, I remember.
Yes. So he's like, a shining example of we could change at any age, it doesn't matter. But once we get it, and we jump on board with like, okay, how can I serve? And that's the amazing thing with a lot of us is that we've gotten that calling right away of like, oh my God, I want everybody to feel how good this feels. King Bobby starting these challenges and getting people on the fruit and getting excited about the lifestyle. And he hasn't even been in it for a year. He's watching right now, and this is like the power of the fruit, the power of the transformation. It's like, it hasn't been a year and he's already coaching people, already like creating this whole movement. I am so impressed. Queen Sade too, who has her love yourself to health community. Like we are all shining so bright together and we all have a special gift to share. We all have our special talent. Queen Lachey, you were mentioning her. She's so amazing, through her food, through her presentation. She's like getting people interested in what this is raw food. Like what are you doing? So she's tapping into her gifts too. We're all raising up and giving each other so much energy and giving each other so much encouragement to like, hey, keep on going, and if that's all I can do for people, like I've done my job here to like believe in yourself, that your own gifts are worth sharing and people want to hear it. People want to see you shine. People want to see you do good. And from that place, and other people are going to hate. There's always going to be those haters. You got to like not worry about them. You got to keep shining your light and keep doing you. Even people, there's always going to be the naysayers, the ones that like try to crush your dreams, and you don't want them around. But just you got to like kind of tune them out too. You got to be like hyper focused and not listen to too much of the noise, as much the good as the bad sometimes, because we got to like stay humble through it all. So people could praise you, okay, like I'm still staying humble, I'm still staying focused.
That's
Because then
right.
if somebody comes in and is like, you're terrible, and why are you doing this? And you're gonna just keep going like left and right with whatever people's opinions are. So, we got to surround ourselves with the ones who found our flames and the ones who like really encourage us, no matter what age. I have friends of all ages. You can see, like, I got friends that are very young, and I have friends that are in their 80s and 90s, like I got friends in all different walks of life. And it's just, we're all here to heal ourselves, and we're all here to walk each other home. And we all have a special gift to share. And that's what you're showing us, through trials and tribulations. You could, like the lotus, right? It's like coming from those muddy waters. I was like, oh my goodness, like you could have ended up like God knows where, like you could have totally taken that into yourself and like self-destructed and been so like consumed with pain and grief and all these emotions. But like you have come out of literally the muddiest waters and like bloomed into the most beautiful lotus flower. And it's incredible to even witness your transformation and be part of your journey. It's really inspiring.
Thank you. To God be the glory. And I will say this one last thing, because I know we're winding down. I really want to speak to my queens 60 plus. You can do this.
Yeah.
You can do it. I started my plant-based journey at 59.
Ooh.
My raw journey 197 days ago. I haven't looked back. I've been raw 197 days, and I feel absolutely amazing. My confidence is through the roof. I think she's I'm not sure if she's in our group or not, but there's this one young lady, her name is Tanya Schultz or something like that. She saw me on Jillian. I was on Jillian Berry, and she saw me, and she said, I love it. When I told her, I said, you can't tell me nothing. So that's my new saying. Right. You can't tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing. I know I got it going on. I got it going on up here. I got it going on. You can't tell me nothing, and I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. I'm not conceited. I'm just convinced. It is what it is. This life, this journey that I'm on, this spirit, soul, and body journey that I'm on has taken my life to a whole nother plane. And I want you, if you're a woman out there that's 60 and over, or 50 plus, or what have you, I'm saying 60 plus because I'm 60 plus, and you're watching this and you're having issues with your health, with your physical health, with your mental health, with your spiritual health, I'm here to tell you that if you would embrace more plants, I'm not telling you just wake up one day and you just all plant-based. I already know that. I already know. Now, I'm the type of person, when I decide to do something, I do it. I'm like, oh, that's what I need to do. I'm on it. That's just me. Everybody's not like me. When I make up my mind to do something, I do it. I don't look back. It's over. It's a wrap. But I'm telling you that if you would start, even if you only just start, I'm not even telling you to do a meal. I'm just telling you to start introducing more plants into your life. I promise you, you will begin to see a difference. I believe wholeheartedly, and I'm going to say this is my story and I'm sticking to it. I'm talking to my people now. When I say my people, I'm talking to all you African Americans that like to say stuff run in your family. May I suggest that bad habits run in your family? That's all. And I'm going to say that every time you see me, I'm going to say that. I'm going to leave that at that. But stop using the excuse this stuff runs in your family. That's an excuse. Stop using that excuse. Get healthy. Get well. We have a whole generation that's coming, and we want them to be healthy. We want them to be well. I've never been so passionate about this. And my goal is, again, and I said this in the beginning, because I am a mental health advocate, I believe that, and you talked about it, Queen, about the nervous system and how foods affect so many things. I can't wait to get the revelation of how I want to integrate. I'm already doing it, but I'm not doing it on the level that I want to do it on, to bring what I do as far as mental wellness and physical wellness together, because I know that it needs to collide. And so what I've actually done, Queen, is I have a beta program that's starting January the 4th. January the 4th is called Forget Counting Calories, How to Lose 10 Pounds in 30 Days. I mean,
Wow.
and so I already have some clients that are going to be beta clients. I'm only going to take 10 people, and it's going to be group sessions for
Amazing.
about an hour and a half for I forgot how many weeks it is. I think it's 3 sessions.
Mhm.
But so yeah, so let's
Amazing.
get it done. Yeah, let's get this thing
Amazing.
done.
You are creating this beautiful bridge between the two worlds, and they're all going to come together thanks to you, thanks to your own experience. And
Mhm.
amen. We definitely use that as an excuse. I see Queen Sade, she says we got epigenetics on our side. That's right. We have the power to change our
I like that.
family diseases and sicknesses. My
Yeah.
grandmother, God rest her soul, she was very, very obese. She died of diabetes. And I see a lot of people in my family going down that same path, but it's like, look at what you're eating, you know what I mean? And
Right.
look at all the issues that are coming up from that. And I am like, I am not going down that road. I will do whatever it takes to not go down that road. And, you know, we see it. The proof is in the pudding, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they'll say things like, to this day, they say to my dad, oh, but you've always been smaller. You've always been slimmer. No, he was starting to have a gut. He was starting to have, and me too. I was heading down. I was almost, like 180 pounds at some point for 5'3". I was getting heavy, if I didn't make those changes. As much as I've been, underweight, I've been also overweight, and I know what it feels like to be in the two spectrums. And it's like, can I just find a middle ground?
Mhm.
And this is the best way to find the middle ground. And like you said, the more we start incorporating these foods, the more we eat fruit, the more we just love on ourselves, the more we'll start to crave those things. It's just going to become more natural as part of our lifestyle. We don't want to force anything, but just start, like you said, just start putting in more greens, putting in more life in you, and you're going to start feeling so much better. And we're here for support. Thank you so much for all your divine time and energy. This has been really powerful. I feel like I've learned so much, and I feel like so fired up to go and like write my book. You have really, wow, you've unlocked something in me, and I'm sure in a lot of us that are watching today, because you have this very strong minded, and you're so perseverant. I love it. I'm not what did you say? I'm not conceited, I'm convinced.
Conceited, I'm just convinced. That's all. So don't get it twisted. I'm just
That's
saying what I'm
right.
saying.
That's right. And a lot of us, sometimes we play kind of small, right? Oh no, I don't want to show myself
Yeah.
like this. And no, we're presenting ourselves like we're showing what this lifestyle can do for
Right.
us, So like, yeah, I feel pretty good, I feel pretty good. And I want to show that you can feel really good and you can look really good at any age. Age is not an excuse. Family is not an excuse. We have the power, and taking responsibility for that is what God wants us to do. And that is the greatest gift we can give to him, is to show ourselves that level of respect, and like treating our sacred temple as him. It's he dwells here too. We are him. He is living
Yeah,
within us. So
exactly.
mhm.
You, girl, you deep. You just, I'm telling you, I'm like, Lord have mercy. I've got to come on here with this queen and try to keep up with her. Like, I don't know about all of that. But yeah, you are certainly a gift from God, and you're so profound. And I just love to, I could listen to you speak all day long,
Oh,
because you speak so much truth, and you have so much depth um, to what you speak. And I'm so glad of what you're doing, and this platform that you've provided for to be able to sit down and to conversate with people from all backgrounds, genders, races. I love what you're doing. I love your journey. I love how you're walking it out. I love your transparency. I just love everything about you, Queen.
Aw.
Yeah,
I
you're the
love you
stuff. You're the
too.
stuff.
Yeah, I love you too. My goodness. I'm like, what? Me? Is she talking about me?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
Because
thank
you
you
know
so much.
what? You many of us who have experienced so much pain, we get it.
Mm.
We get it and we understand. And so I just want to encourage you and see, once you tell me about a book that's in you, I ain't gonna stalk you, but I'm gonna stalk you. So ask Queen Lachey, ask Queen Sade. I'm like, come on, y'all. Y'all, you 40 now or whatever, but before you know it, you're gonna be 50, and the book is still gonna be not written. Just
Gotta
do
do
it,
it.
because you are the answer to somebody's problem.
Mm.
You're the answer. They're waiting for you. They're not
Ooh.
waiting for me. They're waiting for you.
I'm writing this
And
down.
yeah, and the great Miles Monroe said it like this, and I'm sure you've heard it and may have heard it in a different version, but the grave is the wealthiest place. The grave is the wealthiest place because there's so many gifts and talents that's buried there. So don't allow your gifts and your talents to be buried. But more importantly, somebody is waiting for you, Queen, and for my listening audience. For you, somebody's waiting for you. You're the answer to somebody's problem.
Wow.
Do you want to carry that weight on your shoulder of keeping quiet when somebody needed you? We can't speak to everybody on a personal note, but from our experiences, we can't use any excuse now. We have the internet, we got social media, so you can't say you don't have a platform, because you do. So you are the answer to somebody's problem. Make sure you walk in your purpose and you walk out your purpose. Walk in it and walk it out, because you're going to have to answer to somebody bigger than me if you don't. Just saying.
Queen, you are deep. You are on a whole other level. Love it. Love it. I'm trying to get to your levels, and I needed this so much. You are a powerful mentor, a powerful speaker. You speak life into us. You help us believe in ourselves and rise above whatever limitations we may have put upon ourselves or someone else may have put upon us, to really truly go into only hearing God's message. And you are God's message. You speak God's word into us. I love your relationship with him. I love the fun you have with this. And this has really changed my life in so many ways. And I cannot thank you enough for coming on today. And I wish you all the best in your book launch. And I'm here for support. If you ever need anything at all, we are sisters and connected for life. And I thank you so much for everything that you share, and all the confidence you shine within yourself, and helps us to have permission to shine our own confidence forward. No more playing small. That's my motto for this year. It's like, no more playing small. Stop playing small, Aline, because I've definitely hidden myself a lot. And now it's like I'm coming out of the shadows, and it feels so uncomfortable, but I'm like, I just gotta burst out.
And it is uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable, but you got to do it. You got to do it. There's a whole big world that's waiting on you. I can't stress that enough. God didn't give us these lights to hide them under a bushel, if you will. In other words, he didn't put the light in you for you to hide it. He put the light in you for you to let it shine. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Why would you have a light and hide it? If you're lighting the way to something, how is someone going to know the way if you're hiding the light? Duh. So and this is all I'm going to say, let your light shine. That is what scripture said. It didn't say make it shine. So that means that it shouldn't be an effort, because if it was a big deal and if it was an effort and if you couldn't do it, scripture would have said, make your light shine, force it to shine. But he said, let your light shine. So Queen, let your light shine.
Wow. You are powerful. You are incredibly powerful. Wow. Thank you so much for that permission. And even, us doing this is me starting to do that, because we're on a big mission, and together we are stronger. That's, I always say that, together we are stronger. We help empower each other. We help strengthen each other. And you have definitely given me so much strength today. And everybody who watched us, I know you have spoken life into all of us to step more into our power and let our light shine. Like, our job is to remove those layers, that we built around our heart, built around our love, around the light. But it's like, just break that all and let it be. So you are an incredible sister, an incredible light and teacher. And I cannot thank you enough for coming on today. Thank you, God, for bringing us together, and to everybody who joined us today from near or far, either on the live or on the replay. Sending you all so much love. And yeah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I'm about to go cry right now.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I can't say anything else because I'll say something else. Thank you for having me.
It's been a privilege.
Likewise, the pendulum swings both ways.
Thank you so much. All right, we will speak again soon. Bye.